The London Chess Classic is the final leg of the 2018 Grand Chess Tour. We have 4 players competing in this event. There is the challenger, Fabiano Caruana, Hikaru Nakamura, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and Levon Aronian. So this event is basically like a semifinals and finals match. Caruana and Nakamura face off against each other, Aronian and Maxime. And the winner of each matchup will play for the first prize. In total, there will be 8 games played in each matchup. 2 standard games, 2 rapid games, followed by 4 blitz games. So the prize fund for this tournament is very attractive. First place gets 120,000 US dollars, and in last place you still get 40,000. So this game that I'm about to show you is the 4th blitz game between Caruana and Nakamura. Things were all even in the standard games, and Nakamura managed to take one of the games in the rapid portion. And in the blitz section, Nakamura is definitely the heavy favorite. Caruana had the white pieces in this game, Nakamura with black, so Caruana opens with d4. And we have the King's Indian defense. So here Caruana opts to go for h3. This is a popular sideline, and with pretty decent results for white. Hikaru castles, we have bishop e3, e5, d5, closing the center, and a5. So potentially supporting a knight on c5. Here Caruana goes g4, one of the main moves in this position. So white is going to try for an attack against the black king. So in this position, since white has already advanced his kingside pawns, white will usually go for a queenside castle or remain in the center with his king. So here knight a6 played, knight g to e2, knight d7, queen d2, knight d to c5, knight to g3, and c6. So this is the new move in the position. Previously, black played bishop d7, bishop f6 has also been played. So here's c6, bishop e2, Nakamura takes on d5. And here, funnily enough, black plays on the queen side, while white on the king side, which is a bit strange, since it's usually the other way around in King's Indian defense structures. So here rook c1 just to give more protection to the knight on c3. Hikaru plays f6, so Nakamura starts to get a little bit worried about his king safety. So he might consider running this king into the center. King g2 from Caruana. So white's king is safe for the moment, and now his rooks are connected. Knight to b4. So black's knights look menacing, but there are no immediate threats. So here h takes g6 played, and bishop to h6, rook f7. So Caruana is definitely better in this position. He has a nice initiative against the king, and black's counterplay seems slow at best. So there could be some ideas of knight takes b3 and a to a1, but it doesn't quite work for now. Rook h2 from Caruana, preparing to double rooks. So here Nakamura played bishop takes h6, a very gutsy move, but this is also a mistake. Now the queen enters the position. Rook g7. Nakamura is hoping to run away, but here white doubles, rook f8. In fact, in this position, Caruana had his chance. He could have played g5 here. So the strongest defense is going to be queen d8. But here white has a very nice move, knight to f5. So the point is that white is attacking the rook. Immediate threat is queen takes g7. And if that is taken, then you can play g6, which covers this square, threatens queen to h8 mate, and here black is basically lost. So let's go back. Let's see what happens if bishop takes. Then here, the king basically has to run because this is threatened and this would be covered. So king f7, and here you can even play queen takes g7. Let me just show you one of the variations. Here you give a check, and here bishop b5, knight e7. You can even play a call move like f takes g6, and despite black having a queen for the rook, black is just completely helpless in this position. So after black plays a move like f5, there are so many ways to win this, but the simplest is just to take on d7, take on f8, and then take on d7. And you're simply up a full rook. So let's go back. What happens if black tries f5? So here again, you can play knight takes f5, and if g takes, then g6, which covers f7, so bishop takes f5. Now white is again threatening f takes g6, so rook takes f5, but here you give a check, and rook h7, and white soon mates. So what happens if black takes? So here again, knight to f5. So after black takes, white doesn't have this pawn to g6, but now the 6th rank is open for the queen. The queen can play queen takes d6, now threatening this, followed by taking here, so king f7, but rook h8 anyway. So now threatening mate, queen d8 is probably the only defense, but here white simply wins. He can even avoid taking the queen. He can play bishop h5, and this d6 is checkmate, so a very nice mate. But let's go back to the position. After rook to f8, Caruana had his chance. He could have went g5, but he didn't play this move. Instead, queen to c1. Maybe he couldn't work it out. But now Nakamura starts to gain the initiative. Knight b to d3, queen d2, and knight f4 check. King to g1. So now white has to watch out for potential knight takes b3. This idea is starting to become more dangerous. King f7 played. And now Caruana plays rook to h7. This is actually a mistake. Perhaps better was to play the queen to e3 just to get out of this pin, because the knight on c3 is starting to become a little bit vulnerable. So after rook h7, Hikaru capitalizes on this mistake immediately. Rook c8, so immediately putting pressure here. So if white goes queen to e3 now, then black has knight takes b3, opening up a discovery on this knight. And if a takes b3, rook takes c3, followed by a2, a1, queen. So here Caruana tried bishop c4 to block, but Hikaru goes b5, and if bishop retreats, then black has knight takes b3. So here knight g to e2, trying to complicate things. So hoping that if the bishop is taken, then knight takes f4, queen takes f4 with a messy position. And here black could potentially go wrong. For example, if queen takes c3, this could end up pretty badly for black. In fact, here he even gets mated. So here after knight g to e2, Hikaru played g5, a very nice move, eliminating any counterplay for white. So the knight was taken, and g5, but here Hikaru meets that with rook b to g8. So here bishop to e2, this pawn is pinned, king to f8 stepping out of the pin, and here king to f1. But now Hikaru simply takes, and now black is just dominating on both sides of the board. g4 is coming, also maybe f3. White's knight here is pinned. This is very unpleasant for Caruana. So here Caruana played f3, preempting g4. But now Hikaru finishes off the game with b4, just kicking this knight back, away from defending the a2 pawn. And now knight takes b3. Caruana tries to put up some resistance, but here b3 and a2, and the game is basically over. In fact, Caruana resigned in this position. So overall, Nakamura managed to beat Caruana quite convincingly in the Blitz section, with a score of 3-1. And he now faces Maxime Vachier-Lagrave in the finals of the London Chess Classic, which is after tomorrow's rest day. So as usual, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, to share this video, and to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day.